What's up, YouTube? It's Quayver, and welcome to the first episode of a series that I have yet to name, but essentially it is, should you play X Gacha game? To go over this, we're going to be sticking to some criteria, some rankings, some stuff that we will be looking at to see, is the game worth your time to put your time into? Is it worth your time to put your money into? And what's the longevity of the game look like? And how fun is it to play? So a few criteria that we're going to be going over to see that is character design for the game, the story for the game, the combat in the game, the equipment, which in Honkai Star Rail is going to be like the relics, but in things like Genshin it'll be artifacts, basically the equipment that the characters wear to increase their power, the stamina system in the game, like resin, like whatever they have, Trailblaze power in this game. And then we're going to be going over things like events as well, the events in the game, how good they are, the gacha as when it comes to the rates, how greedy is it, things like that, and the rewards. And for future games as well, we're going to be looking at PvP too, but since Honkai Star Rail doesn't have PvP, that category is going to be NA for this video. Without further ado, let's get into today's content. Now for character designs, the characters are exceptionally well designed. I do like the way that a lot of them are designed. Kafka, especially when she was first released, when she was first shown, when the game came out, like everyone wanted Kafka. Her banner sold pretty well. They have reusing characters from old games, such as a newly designed Bronya from Honkai Impact 3rd. She looks great in this game. They did great to her design. Same with Seele. She's more of like a adult woman type of a strong female character as compared to what she was a bit weaker in like Honkai Impact 3rd, like a personality wise. Every design for the game looks pretty good. Everything about them really just stands out to me in a way. Like you look at some of these designs, like I think some of the weaker designs are probably from the Jianluofu. Like you have like Ting Yun, Jingquei, or QQ, Su Shang, Yukong. Like they have like similar design patterns throughout most of their clothing, but even then, like they're unique enough to really stand out. And then with the newer characters, you have Penacony, which is like more modern style designs. But even then, you have some more unique ones like Black Swan, Acheron coming into Penacony, Sparkle. I'd say that a lot of the character designs kind of were a little bit stale in the Jianluofu, except for characters such as like Jing Liu. Like even though her design, it does fit the theme, I think like the way that the colors really pop looks really nice. And like Argenti came out during that time, but he's like a completely different faction and he stands out, looks very unique as well. So character design, I think they really nail, but it's a hoyoverse game. Obviously the hoyoverse games have always had really good, really unique, popping, standout character designs. So for the character designs, I would have to give a solid 9.5 out of 10 for sure. Now for the story starts out in the Hertz Space Station. This is the Fates Atlas. So you could look into some descriptions about the game that you've played so far, even like side quests and extra things like that. The story overall has been very good to see. I'd say the strong point in the game first came out is Harlow 6, Belobog. Before this event here, and these two events here, just like the main storyline quest with like Svarog, Clara, going through with Kokolia and Bronya and seeing how Bronya has to overcome and defeat, how Svarog, starts to retain some humanity even though he's a cyborg, like taking care of Clara. Like the story was very solid throughout. I'd say even this game might be worth it to play just for purely the story alone, like aside from combat, aside from characters, like all those are just extra bonuses. If you don't have a game that has a good story, it's likely not going to sell unless the gameplay is also exceptionally good. And for a turn-based game like Honkai Star Rail, the story's got to be really solid in order to really hook people in. Like something like Persona 5 especially too, if the story wasn't as good as it was, I'd say it probably wouldn't have hooked as many people as it did. So turn-based games like this, I'd say the story needs to be really solid, and luckily this game has had a really solid story all the way through. I'd say the weakest part, in my opinion, is again the Jianluofu, but even then the Jianluofu has some really solid stories. And surprisingly enough, the current Penacony storyline is like my favorite throughout all of it. It's been the best it's ever been, and it's still new content, new updating content. So to see them top what they initially sold with Belobog has been incredible. I'd give the story easily like a 10 out of 10 story. Like if you want to like knock points off for this, fine, 9.5, but like overall, have I enjoyed the story? Like playing through the story has never been a drag. It's always been good, even though you know, with the NPC side quests that don't actually have voice lines, you just kind of click through it if there's no like voice in there, but that's just like standard for any type of game like this. So yeah, story, I'd say very solid, 10 out of 10. Now the combat is very solid for a turn-based game, especially. Like everything looks clean. Now if you look here, like the way that it works with the standard is you have the Q and the E, so you have two of them, two main skills, your auto attack, your skill ability, and then you have the ultimates over the characters. And while this design itself is very simple, the actual combat feels very good to play. Like it never feels bad to hit a button. And then especially with like when you have like the character typings and how it goes to do break shields, break effect, I think the character design is solid. All the animations look really good. Like even that, like she's a bit older, but even then she looks really good. Fushwan has like some of the best animations in the game, obviously. And then Sparkle's gonna boost her up. Like even this ultimate looks great. Like the way that they stand still here when you're about to hit the ultimate, just to see like kind of like an AoE's perspective of all your characters, looks really good. And she is a newer character, but even then, like all the animations look really solid. The combat feels good to play too. Seeing like the really big numbers pop up is really fun. So you see here, she'll be doing an attack, and that just like it just looks so good. The combat feels smooth to play. And another intricate part that they have there is the actual skill point system here, which is this little icon right here. So if you do a basic attack, you get a skill point back. If you use a skill, you lose a skill point. And skill point management obviously helps with when you need to like do a lot of skills. It does less characters use more abilities, things like that. So being able to manage your skill points is also really important for the game, but adding that layer of complexity is also really good for the game as well, for its longevity. Now this is just a standard relic domain, so there's not a lot of a challenge here, but some of the combat gets really challenging when you have things like the MOC, Pure Fiction, Golden Gears, the simulated universe. Let me take you over to the simulated universe real quick. In the simulated universe, that's where you get things like the planar ornament sets. And there's also a way for you to like go through and challenge a part of your account. Now this part of the simulated universe definitely isn't like that big of a challenge. You just go through the floors, you get your relic pieces, and then you call it a day. But here, if you head over into things like Swarm Disaster, Golden Gears, this is like where a lot of the challenge comes in, because it's just super hard to do. And you know, this place also does, you know, you have some rewards. Like even I haven't like been through all of it, like to the test or the conundrum yet, just because it is just really challenging. So like even me having like E6 acheron, like I haven't wanted to do this because I don't have like a really good sustainer to go through, because something that's like you could do 1 billion damage, but like I got hit once and like characters would just like die even though they have like 5k HP or whatever, just because the game mode itself is like really hard. So this game not only has it's good combat, like the systems feel good to play, but the actual end game, the challenging content is all there. So it's not just combat that feels good, it's combat that will challenge you and make you think, even though the majority of the content you could use like E6 acheron to just turn your brain off and like go to sleep basically, and just let the game auto clear itself. Things like this, it's a lot harder to do that in. So even with like your super whale account, your super whale characters, you might find that this is still challenging regardless, and I think that that's really good. It's really interesting. So I would give the combat a solid 9 out of 10 personally for a turn-based. Now if you don't like turn-based, it might even be like a 6 out of 10 for you, maybe a 7 out of 10, 6.5, whatever. But this is a turn-based game, and if you play the turn-based game, you probably like turn-based combat at least like a little bit. And if that's the case, you're gonna really like this turn-based system. It's not as complex as something like Persona 5, like Persona's, your auto attack, your gun shooting, like all that stuff. Like that game is more complex, but this game is simple with its combat, but the combat feels good in its simplicity. If anything, the simplicity makes it so that you don't have as many like cheat easy options to get out of harder content. So that simplicity might also be a barrier to make it harder for you to kind of progress through things, which some people might be like, oh, that's bad combat design because it's simple and it's still hard. But like if it's simple and still hard, then you need to really think about how each skill point you use matters, how each basic attack you use matters, how each ult you use matters with the energy regen and everything, which adds some more complexity to your building, your crafting, all that stuff. So yeah, solid 9 out of 10 for sure for the combat. Now on to everyone's favorite piece of any gacha game that you play, the equipment system. How good is the equipment system? So the equipment system works very simply. You have your head, your hand, your chest, your feet, and then 2 ornaments, which is like the globe and the rope. So you have 6 pieces in total. Your body pieces, which is your hand, feet, gloves, chest, that'll create like your person set. And then you have the orb and the rope, which creates like the extra set. And both of them could give bonuses to you. Now, my recommendation on this is first is main stat, substat, and then sets. Because when you have really good stats, when you have really good substats, it's not going to matter that you're not getting those little extra bonuses, but those little extra bonuses are there if you want to match everything together. So make sure that you go rainbow on characters that you need to. If you need to hit speed thresholds, if you need to hit crit attack percent thresholds, all that stuff. The equipment itself, it's a gacha. Like, it feels good. You get that hit of dopamine when you like roll like a super awesome piece. It was a crit damage body. It rolled twice in the crit rate. But even that was like, oh, it rolled twice in the crit rate. Oh my god, that's insane. Like, you know. And like this one right here, this attack percent boot rolled 3 times into crit damage. And I was like, what? 3 crit damage? And it was nuts. So like that little piece of dopamine is good. Like this right here. This one has attack percent, it has crit damage, it has break effect, and then it rolled like 4 times into effect res and didn't hit any of the stats that I want. And it's just like, you just like I worked hard for this piece. Why'd you make it? Why didn't you roll in the crit damage at least like once, twice? Attack percent, anything? But that's the RNG that you get with it. This is definitely the most RNG side of the game when it comes to making your characters powerful. So take it with a grain of salt. Make sure that you're not going too crazy into that. You could use like the paid currency kind of thing to like reset it. So you could do like 3 days worth of runs in a day if you want to do like whale resets and stuff. But even that's not really worth it. Like, honestly, you get your character up, you get your traces up, and then you get your main stats that you want. Like, you're going to be able to clear the content in the game like super easy. Even like the like M game, like MOC, like you have 5 cycles to clear each side. Pure Fiction, you have 4 cycles in total just to like rack up some points. You put like the bare minimum investment into like every unit that you take into there, and you're probably going to clear it like at least 1 star on all of it, and then a little bit more investment will let you get 3 stars. Like, you don't need to go anything crazy into this. Just because of those RNG, the relic elements, and how it's tied to like stamina, using them per day, like I can't in good faith give the equipments over like a 7 out of 10, but even then, like 7 out of 10 is not bad. Like, there's definitely worse systems. Like, I think like the way that Genshin's works is like, it's pretty much similar, but also like having to physically run up to the domain, start it, do the fight, run all the way to the end, then claim your reward. Like, it's just so tedious. Whereas here, you like click on a portal and then you go into it and you could auto play it and you could just like auto farm it and it's fine. So like tediousness compared to like what you actually get out of it, like the tediousness is much lower than like what Genshin has. So I think the equipment's not too bad. Just, you know, just be lucky and you'll never have to worry about it. Just roll better. That's it. Moving into the stamina system, which I just covered a little bit in the relic system, and that is what you got right here. Your trail blaze power, you get 240 a day. You takes like 40 to do a relic. It takes 30 to do like a weekly boss. It takes, if you get everything out of Sim Universe, it's 160 per Sim Universe run, and you get the 240. It replenishes every like 24 hours or so, I believe. Now, what's really good about this stamina system in this game is that there's this right here, the reserved trailblaze power. Now, what the reserved trailblaze power does is if you go over 240, instead of just losing it, so that, you know, you have like the FOMO, it'll store, and it could go up to 2400, which is 10 times the main amount. So you could just not play the game for like up to 10 days and you're not going to actually be losing any resin. You could just take a break for a week, come back, and then you could dump all of that trailblaze power all at once, and then just get all the relics and stuff that you would have done if you play like every single day throughout the week. So I think just that alone gives a lot more value into this stamina system, but also stamina system does still limit you. Now, the whole thing about this is like, if you have no stamina, you can't do anything in the game, right? The game's like boring. It's like, oh, like I can't even play the game now because I don't have any stamina. However, because of what we touched on before, the simulated universe, Golden Gear, Swarm Disaster, there's still a lot you can play in the game to challenge yourself, to have fun, to go through things and like earn those extra rewards while not being tied to stamina. But if you want to make your characters more powerful, traces, the character levels, your relics, all that stuff, that's all going to be stamina tied, which is pretty standard, but it still sucks. However, compared to the way the stamina system works in the other games that doesn't really hold on to stamina for you, that you just like lose a stamina, there's no stamina to hold on, this like reserve area, you know. And like in Genshin, I think they have a bit of a reserve, but it's like slightly, it's like a lot less. considering all of that, I think the stamina system is about like an 8.5 out of 10, like pretty easily. And it would be a lot lower, it'd be around Genshin's terms, if it didn't have this reserve Trailblaze power. But having the reserve is just such a blessing, so that you don't feel like you have to play every single day. You come and you play when you want to. You could dump all of it at once. If you're like a busy guy, you know, you work like 8 hours a day, like 60 hours a week, even more than that, and you have just one day to play a week, this allows you to not fall behind anyone else that's just free to play as well, playing even just one day a week. And I think that's like really important, and that should be really taken into consideration when you're deciding whether you want to start playing a game like this or not. Now we get to talk about my favorite-ish part of the game, and that's the events. Now, the events, they come out with patches as stuff like this. Vintages in a Cup is a limited time event. I see it says it's got 22 days, 21 hours remaining, so this event will go away. And then you have like other things like the Pure Fiction resets, like that's endgame stuff. You simulate a universe. Cosmodity, it's the anniversary event, that's going to go away too. And then you have aptitude showcases for every character that's coming out. But what's really nice about these events is that some of them, the important ones, like those has some story tie ones, the ones that are like really, I'd say the ones that they put the most effort into, the ones that are really impressive, the ones that like really get you, are these events. These are the permanent events. These events will never go away. Not just the events to play, but all the rewards tied to them as well. And as you can see over the course of the game, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full events, full rewards that you can still go in, you can still play through, you can still claim. And I'd say most of the events are like really solid and really fun to go through. Like Tales of the Fantastic was like really good. Like I even like reading like the really weird story that's being told through it, like through your actions and your choices. I think it's like, it's fun, it's funny too. The Boulder Town Super League is just like battle royale with like different like type advantages and stuff. It's pretty quick, but it's also like really fun to do, just to even try characters with trial characters. Foxy and Tail was pretty decent. I thought it kind of dragged on a little bit at parts, but it was all right. Weirdly enough, I really liked this event because there's like a lot of like puzzles you had to figure out in it, and I thought it was like really good, really decent. This is the museum, their first big event that they ever stuck to and like made permanent, which was like pretty soon after the game started. When I first got into the museum, it was like but then the more you go through it, the more I'm like, okay, I'm really liking this, I'm really enjoying this. I'd say it's probably one of the longer events, so it might take you like a couple of days if you don't just sit down and only do this. But even if you do that, it's still like fun to do, and I think it's like still a good time. Critter Pick was like really like it was cute. Like making these guys is like really fun. It's like a really cute thing to do, and I mean just look at them. You want to like go and like pinch your cheeks a little bit, you know. And then this is the newest one with 2.0. It's Hanu's Prison Break. I thought this minigame was also really fun and entertaining to do. I'd say it's like in the middle of their events. Like I'd say it's like better than something like the Boulder Town, just because Boulder Town was very simplified. It was early on in the game, but it's not better than my favorite event, my favorite permanent event, which everyone's favorite permanent event, the Pokemon event, which is like the Ethereum Wars, where you get to like pick the enemies that you want to use and throw them on a team together. I actually built like a really solid like team around this. Like they use that like ice dude to do like the paw, but it also has like healing around it. Like he just like, I basically built like a really solid hyper buff team of that, and it just like cleared everything like super easy. I wish this had PvP, because I'd probably be like top 500 easy with that team. That team is nuts. But this Pokemon event is really fun. It's a permanent event. You can still get the rewards from it. And then you get like Bubbles, which I won't spoil for you who Bubbles is, but you'll like them. They're really cute. Events have been insanely good, especially like even with the events that are like limited, like on this page here, the Vintages in a Cup, I thought was like, it was kind of like a little bit of a yap fest, but near the end, I was glad I sat through the yap fest, because it was like really emotional and really touching, even with these like enemies. It was really strange, but it was really nice. But even with these like limited events, it's still really fun to go through. It's still, you know, the rewards are still really good. Like you get like this, like the self-modulating resin to like pick what you want out of a relic. You have the Tracks of Destiny, which like lets you like, it's like the balls, right? The balls. It lets you get up to like level 9, level 10 traces, all that stuff. Jade, making your texting unique in your phone. Like, let me show you the texting. Like you see how like here, it's got like the purple up here. Like that's like the unique bubbles that you can get around it from doing some of the events. And it's all really good. So events in total, I'd give the events like a 10. The events have been really, really good. There's been a couple of flops. Like, if I was being like super honest with myself, I'd probably give it a 9. So I'm going to merge those two. Actually, I'm going to give it a 9.5. Events in the game as a total in its entire lifespan have been a 9.5 for sure, without a doubt. One of the best events in game in like a gacha that I've seen. Moving on to the favorite portion of any gacha game, and that is the gacha, like the characters that you can pull for Jade during in game, or for a little bit of the real life cheddar. With this, it has a very standard pull system. It's 10 tickets for a 10 pull. How much does a ticket cost? It costs 160 of these little stellar jade guides right here. 1600 stellar jades for a 10 pull. Max pity is 90, soft pity is 75. You usually hit them between 75 and 85. So you're spending like a good amount of stellar jade to get one character. 50-50 system in this game, which kind of sucks, but it's like, whatever. You either get this character or you get an off-banner character. If you get an off-banner character, then you're guaranteed to get this character after the off-banner character loss. So 50-50 guarantee, 50-50 guarantee, 50-50 guarantee. Keeps going like that over and over and over again. But if you win the 50-50, then it's another 50-50. Win the 50-50, another 50-50. Lose the 50-50, now it's a guarantee afterwards. You guys know how it works for now. It's pretty standard. Has the uprate 4-star characters per banner, changes every time. These are the three current ones: Gallagher, Pela, Don Hong, standard. Also, there is the light cones, which is basically their weapon. This one, exact same system, except it's a 75-25, so 75% chance to get the on-banner light cone, 25% chance to get the off-banner light cone. I'd say it's better than Genshin, obviously, because this has a lose it once, and then it's a guarantee, where it's Genshin, you have to pick the tracks of destiny. Thanks to Tectone. Thank you, Tectone, for not making it to where it's always off. In that game, it's you lose once, you lose again, and then you guarantee it. Whereas this is like you lose once, it's guaranteed no matter what. So it is a better weapon system for that. However, a lot of weapons in this game aren't really necessarily needed. However, there is a lot of really good ones, such as this one from Acheron. It's all really good. And then at the very end, you have standard banner pulls. You have like the standard banner star rail pass compared to the gold star rail passes. And when you, I don't no longer have it, but when you get 300 pulls onto this stellar warp, then you get to just pick a 5-star character that's in the standard banner. If I could give you a recommendation, I'd say Bronya first and foremost. Even if you already have a Bronya, get another Bronya. E2 Bronya is absolutely nutty and insane. E3 Bronya is the same way. But if you're missing out on characters that can really round around your teams, Himiko is really solid, Welt's really solid, Gepard is completely power corrupt, but if you're going to miss Adventurine, then Gepard's okay, Bailu's okay. I would never go for Yang Qing. Even Clara's like decent, but even I would never go for Clara. So I'd say Bronya is first priority, and then if you really just don't want Bronya, or you feel like I have enough Bronya, then either go for Himiko, Welt, or Gepard, and I'd say Himiko first, Welt second, Gepard third. But that's how basically the pull rates go. Now, I've played other games too, like that have like way better systems than this, like PGR. So this obviously can't be a 10 out of 10 for gacha. I think the gacha in this game, it is, it's predatory just like any other game. It's not the greatest in the world. However, when you do get lucky, it feels really good, and get the dopamine, the neurons, and it hits your brain, and it feels real nice. So I give it 6.5, just because this is a 75-25, 6.5 here. There are other games that are worse, but then there are also a lot of games that are better, I'd say. Out of every predatory gacha game, this one's like kind of like in the middle of the tier, whereas like the very bottom is like Summoner's War, Diablo Immortal, like super bad, and like the very top is like things that are super free to play friendly, like PGR especially. Talking a bit about rewards, you have your daily login. When you get all the way up to here, you get 60 jades per day. The events have a complete wide variety of rewards. Like in this limited time, you have 80 some upgrade materials, 80 upgrade materials. Same thing here, but these last two are 60. And then you have the one self-modulating resin. Sometimes it's a resin, sometimes it's a track to destiny. I think most of the time it's going to be a resin nowadays. So rewards for events are also really good, especially when you can get through them in just a couple of hours. Getting those like really unique individual rewards are always really good. And in both MOC and Pure Fiction, clearing floors and getting certain stars rewards jades, as well as these jade feathers. Jade feathers help you buy things from the store that refresh just like the normal store in the game, and you can get this from MOC as well as from the Pure Fiction. This is the shop that you can go to, spending this luminescent afterglow on getting light cones for free. I've done this for a little while, and I could get up to 10 light cones completely for free, but because I'm a dirty little whale, I don't really do this as much as I should. However, you know, if you're someone that's free to play, this is absolutely great. Being able to get four-star light cones that are very good, very decent to use. And then those feathers help you buy things from this store, such as the self-modulating resin again, which is a very rare commodity to come around, and then other upgrade materials. How do I feel about the rewards in total from this game? I think that the rewards are quite generous, especially with what you get per patch. Per patch is like you get like a 10 pull for it. This like anniversary that we just got, we got 30 free pulls out of it. And then for maintenance, you know, standard maintenance, like 300 jades or so, I believe, around for that. So the rewards are quite good in this game. Now, it's not as good as rewards as from something like PGR, but the rewards are a lot more generous than something like Genshin Impact. So I'd say rewards here for the amount that you put into the game, for the amount that you get for free. You know, do a 2-hour event and you get like thousands of stellar jades. Like being able to do like a 10 pull or so from it is like, it's really solid, really good. And if you have decent luck, you could, like, even if you start from the game from the very beginning and you're playing the game in like even just like a modest way, like watching someone like Tectone, aside from his like first 10 pull like Jingliu, and you know, not really losing 50-50, is like you could pretty comfortably get a character every patch, sometimes even a character every like half patch. If you really like Acheron and Venturine or this patch, you might be able to get both of them if you get lucky. But if you get unlucky, you might be able to just get one of them. And being able to get like one 5-star character every single patch is actually pretty solid for the amount of time that that you get, which is like 6 weeks. So a new character like every 6 weeks, like at like a minimum, is like pretty solid. It helps you fill out your roster, helps you play the game, lets you have fun with the game, and especially with some of the strong levels that the characters are currently at right now, I'd say it's for sure very solid. And I'd give the rewards, I give it an 8 out of 10. Now we are here with the final verdict of the game, tallying all the scores up together to give an overall rating for the game. Would I recommend? Should you play? What is the score? And the score we have ended with is 8.5 out of 10. Very solid game considering everything that we went through, especially considering some of the low points, like with how the gacha is, because you know it's a gacha game. Gacha's going to knock off points no matter what it is. But hitting an 8.5 for a game is really good. I'd say between 8 and 10 is like pretty recommend. With that 8.5 score, I also want to give a seal of value. Now what the seal of value is how much should you invest your time and your wallet into the game. And for this game, the light spender final score seal of value. Now you could also go higher than that if you want to go into the whale tier, the leviathan tier, whatever that you want to do here. However, I'd say that light spender is about where you would be happy. That would guarantee that you get every new character that comes out without their weapon. Whenever you could go for the weapon too, but if you go for every character and every weapon, I'd argue you're kind of approaching whale territory. But if you just want to go for every character, you know, get every battle pass, have like the Welkin Moon like thing where you get like a little bit of jades here and there every day, it is very solid and it is very good. I'd say this game is definitely worth your time. It's worth your investment. It's worth just your attention. This game has quite a big player base already, but even then it could always be bigger. And I think that this game kind of deserves to be bigger sometimes. That is my final rating. That will bring us to the end of the first episode of whatever I decide to call this video. Now, if you did like this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be updated on the future uploads that we have. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.